Legal frameworks. Each regime operates under distinct legal frameworks, such as the US's IEPA and the UK's SAMLA 2018, which define their authority and scope. Sanctions lists. All regimes maintain consolidated lists of sanctioned individuals, entities, or sectors, such as the US's SDN list or the EU's consolidated list. Enforcement mechanisms. Enforcement varies widely, with some regimes, e.g., US-UK, imposing civil and criminal penalties, while others, e.g. UN, rely on member state implementation. Unique features. The US sanctions regime is notable for its extraterritorial reach, while the EU employs a blocking statute to counteract foreign sanctions. Post-Brexit, the UK has developed autonomous sanctions with strict liability for violations. Canada and Australia emphasize global and thematic sanctions frameworks, while Switzerland aligns closely with UN sanctions. Let's talk now about licensing and exceptions. Licensing and exceptions are critical mechanisms that allow certain transactions or activities otherwise prohibited by sanctions, especially for humanitarian, diplomatic, or legal reasons. OFAC uses licensing. The U.S. Office of Foreign Assets Control. OFAC employs two main types of licenses to regulate exceptions to sanctions: general licenses, GLS, and specific licenses. General licenses automatically authorize certain categories of transactions, such as humanitarian aid, exports of food and medicine to sanctioned countries like Iran, or specific energy-related transactions with Russia. Specific licenses, on the other hand, are issued on a case-by-case basis and require a detailed application with justification for the activity. Applications for specific licenses can be submitted online or by mail, and are reviewed to ensure compliance with applicable legal and policy standards. While timelines vary, urgent humanitarian cases are typically expedited. EU derogations and licenses in the European Union. EU derogations from sanctions regulations allow member states to issue licenses for specific purposes, such as humanitarian aid, legal fees, or meeting basic needs. These licenses are issued by competent national authorities and must be notified to the European Commission to ensure consistency across member states. Examples of derogations include allowing humanitarian aid to sanctioned regions like Russia or permitting specific activities like mine clearance in Sudan. This system ensures flexibility while maintaining oversight and alignment with EU-wide policies. UK OFAC licenses. The UK's Office of Financial Sanctions Implementation, OFAC, issues licenses under several categories, including basic needs, legal fees, fulfilling prior obligations, or addressing extraordinary circumstances. Applications for OFAC licenses are submitted through an online portal where they are reviewed and, if approved, issued with specific terms and conditions. The process is designed to ensure compliance with UK sanctions laws while allowing for exceptions in scenarios such as life-saving aid or legal obligations. UN exemptions. The United Nations UN provides exemptions to sanctions through humanitarian carve-outs and program-specific exemptions. Security Council Resolution 2664/2022 created standing exemptions for humanitarian activities, ensuring that aid organizations can operate in sanctioned areas without penalty. Additionally, specific exemptions exist for countries like Afghanistan and North Korea DPRK, tailored to their unique situations. The UN also allows diplomatic exemptions to enable participation in peace processes, attendance at UN conferences, or for urgent medical or religious reasons. These exemptions are critical for balancing sanctions enforcement with humanitarian and diplomatic imperatives. Best practices for all regimes. It is essential to follow best practices when applying for licenses or exemptions. Applications should include detailed documentation and clear justification for the activity. Engaging early with the relevant authorities is vital, particularly for urgent or time-sensitive cases. Once a license is granted, it is crucial to monitor and strictly comply with its terms to avoid penalties. Staying updated on regulatory changes and licensing requirements helps ensure compliance and facilitates smooth operations under sanctioned environments. The key licensing features across sanctions regimes are as follows. OFAC issues general licenses, GLS for broad categories like food and medicine to Iran and specific licenses, LS for individual cases with applications submitted to OFAC. Humanitarian exceptions cover NGOs and remittances. EU derogations allow member states to grant licenses for basic needs, legal fees, or humanitarian aid, with EU notification. UK OFAC provides licenses for basic needs, emergencies, and legal purposes via application to OFAC. UN mechanisms include humanitarian carve-outs and diplomatic exemptions, granted through standing or case-by-case approvals by the Sanctions Committee.